Hello, welcome back to you and to me. It's episode 63 of Novel Knits. My name is Danelle and this is my YouTube channel where I talk about what I'm knitting and what I'm reading. Thank you so much for joining me today. I know it has been an incredibly long time and I'm just so happy that you decided to come back and check out what I've been working on. I have a lot to share, so I'm gonna cut the chit chat at the beginning and I'll chit chat a little bit at the end in case you're curious about where I've been, what traveling I've done, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, really quickly, I'm not gonna do show notes anymore. I just find that that's my New Year's resolution. I don't have very many and that is it. So if you have any questions about any of the knitting projects I talk about today, I do keep my Ravelry page very up to date. And I'm NovelKnitGirl on Ravelry, and you can also message me there. I do check Ravelry probably daily. And then you can also DM me on Instagram. I am Danelle_KP on Instagram. I'll have that listed below this video for you to check out. If you want to connect with me anywhere else, you can also always leave a message under this video and I'll answer any questions or just say hello. I always like to hear what you're knitting on and what you're reading. So please feel free to like, subscribe, leave a comment. I would love all of that. So, all right, what am I wearing today? Oh my gosh, you guys. I am wearing my Port. This is a pattern by Ozetta, which is Haley Smedley. And I started this sweater last year. I didn't write down when I started it, but I finished it on May 5th, 2025, which was spring, and it was not the right time of year for a sweater like this. And I pulled this sweater out of my closet a few months ago this winter, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I made this. It is lovely and it is perfect and I love it. So it is, when I decided to make this pattern, I used the called for yarn in the same color that the designer used, because when I looked at this on Ravelry where I purchased it, I was like, I would buy that sweater in a store. And I'm so happy that I went with this yarn because I just love it. It is very, very soft, very warm. It's oversized, it drapes really nicely, and I'm just very, very, very pleased with this. So it's a lovely oversized sweater and I adore it very, very much. I made size 2 and I used Wool Dreamers, Moda, and Biche Bouche mohair held together in the colors natural. And yeah, I love it. So I've been wearing this a lot this winter. You can tell it looks a little worn, but this is probably one of my top 5 knits that I've ever finished. I love this sweater very much. So I would highly recommend this sweater if you want to make one. All right, on to my more recent finished objects. So the first finished object is kind of a funny story. And I don't have it here to share with you because I donated it. So I finished the Easy Eyelet Yoke Sweater by Knititude. I started this on September 3rd, 2025, and I finished it on November 8th, 2025. So this was a pretty quick knit for me. I cast this sweater on with some Lion brand wool ease that I had laying around, and I just wanted an easy, mindless sweater, kind of like this, but I didn't gauge swatch, and the reasons that I did not end up liking this sweater have nothing to do with the pattern and all to do with me. This was all user error. So I cast on without gauge swatching because I was like, you know, it's a stockinette sweater mainly with some eyelets on the top, like this will be easy. And I did the body, and I don't even know if I tried it on before I bound off. I did, but I probably should have thought about it a little bit more because I definitely bound off too soon, so it was a bit short. And then when I did the sleeves, normally I do my sleeves, like there's a little bit of shaping on this sleeve, and I don't normally do shaping on my sleeves. I normally do sleeves the same, like I don't do any decreases until I get down to the cuff, and then I do a rapid decrease in the cuff. And on the Easy Eyelet, I followed the instructions and did the decreases, and it ended up that the sleeves ended up about here when it was all said and done. This was after I ordered more yarn because I ran out of the wool ease, and then the yarn didn't match. The color matched, but the texture was off, and all was said and done. I tried it on after I finished it, and I blocked it, and it was very boxy on me, and the sleeves were too long, the body was too short, and there were, you know, a lot of you will be sitting there on the other side saying, well, Danelle, why didn't you just rip out the sleeves, add length? I also probably needed to add some short rows, and that's just not my style. For me, I am such a process knitter that this project was there for me when I needed something to just knit round and round and round and round on, and I enjoyed making it. I didn't necessarily enjoy the final product, so I kept it for a few months thinking either I'm going to make the changes to it or I'm going to donate it, and then somebody will find it in a donation shop and either think this fits me perfect, or they'll think this is good yarn, I'm gonna unravel it and use it for something else. So those were my hopes in donating it. But yeah, it's not that I didn't like the sweater, it's a great sweater. I very much am like that. Sometimes I'm just done with the process and I'm okay letting something go. So that was what happened with that sweater. So there is a picture of it on my Ravelry if you're interested. It's a very pretty sweater and I would recommend making it. My recommendations, if you did decide to make it, would be to gauge swatch and add a little short row shaping if you don't want it to be very, very boxy, and add length and take length away. Just be a little bit more thoughtful in your process than I was. I was making this during a very, very, very stressful time in my life, so I think that was part of it too. It just served its stress purpose, and then I was finished. So on to happier finished objects. I have 3 pairs of socks that I finished. So yes, I know I haven't been on here for like 4 to 5 months and I only finished 4 things. That's because I've started a lot. Anyway, the holidays came. We celebrate Christmas in our house, and normally I make socks for my husband, Nathan, my daughter, Claire, my son, Milo, both of my parents, and usually some other people in my life. I also made a pair of socks for my sister this year. But when we got to November, which is normally when I start to think, okay, who's getting socks? I had no bandwidth to start new socks. I was barely able to knit at all in November and December. It was just a weird time. So it was like, if I don't already have socks started for you, you're not getting them. So my sister, I had finished her socks earlier in the year. Same with my husband, Nathan. Claire got a pair of those Mercury socks that were lacy and beautiful that I finished recently because we pretty much have the same size foot and she loved them. My parents did not get socks, and the only person that kind of was missing out was Milo, and I had to find some socks for him. So I did have a sock tube that my friend Anna had gifted me about a year ago. And I was talking on here about sock tubes and how sometimes the gauge is too loose for me. And so she kindly sent me some sock tubes that she did at a tighter gauge and kind of show me like, no, that can be adjusted. And as soon as she sent me this one tube though, I was like, this is great for Milo. And I cast on the heel and a cuff immediately. I think I even had 2 cuffs and 1 heel. So they were almost done. So I was like, I can finish that for Christmas. So I started these on March 13th of 2024, and I finished these on December 17th, 2025. So kind of a long time for them to just sit in a bag, but I finished them and they're lovely. And here they are. So these made it into Milo's stocking for Christmas. So when you get a sock tube, you add your cuff and you cut in a heel and just do a short row heel. I think I did this especially well this time. And then you add in a toe at the bottom. And the other yarn that I paired with this is just some blue that I've had in my scraps. And these turned out beautiful. And I think this was almost the entire tube. So it worked wonderfully. So Milo right now he has not hit his growth spurt. So his feet are just a little bit smaller than mine right now. So I'm trying to enjoy this time because he's probably gonna have size 13 to 15 feet at some point in his life. So, and then the only thing I don't love about these is I really didn't do a great job on my bind off here. Ooh, let me put those down. So I have a curly cuff bind off here. However, when these are on his feet, you don't notice that at all. And he is very happy with these socks. I just pulled them out of his drawer because he wears his socks quite a bit. And he likes to put his in a ball like this. None of the rest of us do, but that's what Milo does. Okay, I have 2 more pairs of socks. So I finished the heel toe do-si-do socks for my sister-in-law. She was having a big birthday this year, and we don't generally buy each other birthday gifts, but I thought a pair of hand-knit socks would be nice. And we took a family trip to Galena, Illinois to celebrate her birthday, and I had these with me, and I was trying really, really hard to finish them there so I could just gift them to her, and I didn't. And that was in early January. Her birthday is in December, and I still have them because I forgot about them. But I did block them, so they look really nice. I'm not gonna put them on a blocker. The yarn that I used is, for the main color, is There's No Way, and it's a colorway by Tia's Terrific Threads. And I just used a red to cast on, and then I used black for the heel, and then I just kept the rest of the toe the same. So you can see I was just a little off on the toe, but I don't know, they look really good. So yeah, the heel toe do-si-do is a pattern by the Crazy Sock Lady. This is the second time I've made it. It is just such a nice pattern. If you're looking for a really easy and nice sock pattern and have not made these ones, this is a great one. I have to admit, when I first started these, I hated the colors. And it wasn't really until I got to the heel and put the black in that I was like, oh no, I do like this a lot. I think if I could go back in time, but we all know I'm not this kind of person, I would go back and I would add black to the cuffs instead of red. And I think that overall would make me happier, but I really, really adore these, and I think she will like them too. They seem very much her personality. So yeah. All right, and my last finished object is the Gravel Path socks. This is a pattern by Twin Stitches Design. I've made this pattern in DK recently in the last year, and so I really enjoyed it, and I decided to just do the fingering weight version for a pair of gift socks. I'm trying to make more socks for other people because I probably have 40 to 60 pairs of socks for myself, and I don't really need that many. So anyway, I have a skating coach friend who has been helping me out. We've been having brunch together, and I decided to make her a pair of socks. And I used Nomadic Yarns Encyclopedia Fairies. And I started these on September 25th, 2025, and I finished them on January 28th, 2026. These are a little bit larger. These are 72 stitches, magic loop. And she's got a larger foot than me, so this is the end of my sock blocker. She's got a size 10.5 US women's foot. And I did a heel flap and gusset, and I did not do any yarn management, so you can see there's like a little blip here, but other than that, I mean, it doesn't bother me at all. I don't think it'll bother her, and they match really, really well down to the toe. So I'm really happy with these. I am gonna block them after seeing how nicely the socks blocked for my sister-in-law. I'm gonna block these so they look really nice for her, and then we are planning to get together so I can gift them to her soon. But these have a really nice just seed stitch, slip stitch, patterning that goes all the way through. It's just nice. If you like vanilla socks but just want a little something, this is really, really nice. Another pattern that's like this is the column, what's it called? Nancy Wheeler's column pattern. That is not the name of it, but collection of columns. I have that one as well. And that one has a lot of different patterns that you can put kind of on this side or on the back. So I like stuff like that. That's pretty easy, where you can kind of knit, and then just do something. I really enjoy that when I'm doing my socks. So anyway, that's it for the finished objects. Now we're gonna move into works in progress. I'm gonna have a sip of tea. This is, I don't know if anybody else is like this. I love getting a mug from an airport. So this is my most recent airport mug. I went to St. Louis in January to attend US Figure Skating Nationals as a spectator, and we had the best time. I'll talk about that a little bit at the end. I'm just gonna start grabbing at stuff that's around here. So since we last spoke, I had a sweater cast on extravaganza. I worked on some works in progress, including a long-term blanket, which has gotten a lot of love. And then I cast on, and then after I got through the holidays, I was back to socks. So that's kind of how this is gonna go. I'm just gonna pick a bag and start with it. So this is, I enjoyed the heel toe do-si-do pattern so much that once I finished these socks for my sister-in-law, I wanted to cast on another pair. So I found another skein of nomadic knits in my stash. I have a lot of nomadic yarns in my stash, and I just was like, I'm gonna cast on another pair. So this is Stick Season is the yarn. Sorry, I'm trying to find it on here. And Heel Toe Do-si-do, again, is by Crazy Sock Lady Designs, Kayla Linton. And I cast these on December 17th, 2026. I had no business doing that. So here they are. This is a really pretty colorway. I think these are gonna be for my daughter Claire. I wanna send her off to college next year with a couple pairs of hand knit socks, and these just seem really sweet and like they would be really cozy for her. So this is the colorway. I have started the heel flap and walked away from it. I probably haven't worked on this in 2 months, but I love it and I will get back to it. So the Stick Season colorway, so pretty. At first I thought Milo, and then I thought that peach just kind of softens it up enough. And then I remember Susan from Mad Knitting, when I believe her son went away to college, she tried to make him a bunch of socks, and I thought that was such a good idea. And I can probably only get 3 pairs done for Claire, but even 3 is good. So I have a couple of pair right now that I'm working on for her for next year. I have been winding all of my yarn into balls lately instead of cakes. I think I need a new ball winder, and it's just not something I feel like figuring out right now. So I'm doing a lot of hand winding at the moment. All right, what do I have next? So next I have kind of a random cast on that this is a scarf, and we all know I like a good scarf, right? But scarves I tend to cast on, work on for a while, and then they sit until I need that feeling again. I cast on the Jasmine scarf. This is a pattern by Pearl Soho. I'm using leftover Lion Brand wool ease yarn in Oxford Gray, and I started this on November 19th, 2025, probably thinking that maybe it could be a Christmas gift, but it did not take off the way I thought it was going to. So here's where I am at. And this is a great pattern. It is really, really fun. It's two rows. So your right side row and your wrong side row. And you know, it's just very, very easy and fun, and I really enjoy it. I have 3 balls of this yarn, the Oxford Gray. And so I'm kind of gonna see what size scarf that gives me in the end. And if it's not quite long enough, I may fold it on itself, sew it together, and make it an infinity scarf. So I'm just gonna kind of see what the length ends up being by the time I'm finished with this. But this was good car knitting. When I went to Galena, Illinois, I brought this with me and probably put, 3 inches on it. So that was good. But yeah, that's nice. And it's not hard. It looks hard, but it is not hard. Because if you've been here for a while, you know, I don't like hard in my knitting. Knitting for me is fun. So if it's too hard, I am out of here. All right, and then let's see what I have next. Oh my gosh, you guys. The Pure Joy by Joji Locatelli. Its 3rd iteration, I believe, is going to stick. So I'm using one of the 2 yarns that I had last time. So I'm using the Bird Street yarn in the color Medici, and that's my contrast color. And I was gonna just switch the colors that I had last time that I showed this on here, and then I just decided, let's see what else I have in my stash. I've been loving my stash lately. I've gotten to a point where I have a lot of yarn in my house. So I just kind of finally, after 14 years of knitting, I've gotten away from like always wanting to bring more in to like being really happy with what I have and shopping my own stash. I finally made it to a point where it's just happening naturally. So I went into my stash and I found this skein of Full Moon Fibers, Full Moon Fibers Nebula Eclipse, which is that zebra yarn that's got the black and white striping all the way through, and then they dye over it. And the colorway is Willow, and it's so soft, and I really wanted to work with it, and I cast it on and I never stopped. So this is gonna be hard to show because it's on a short cord, so I apologize for that. That's the wrong side. So here's where I'm at. I've actually done all of the main body. Now I have to do the border with the Medici. So here it is. And I know when I started my very first version, because I had yarn from Hue Loco that I had been saving to make this pattern. And then when I did it, I just didn't like it. I didn't like the very like colorful yarn, and then I didn't think there was a big enough contrast between them. And then when I was making this, I kind of thought, well, I did kind of still go for something that was really busy, but I really like how earthy it is, and it is really, really soft, and I think it's just gonna be lovely. So when you make this, it's a lot of short row shaping, which is what makes these wedges, and they get larger as you go. Funny enough, I actually ran out of the Willow color, and I had this in my stash, which is a self-striping yarn, in like a tweedy self-striping yarn from Nomadic Yarns. And I cut out this this teal part and just used this minty green or this darker green. And you really can't tell that I added another yarn right at the top. So I've never really had that work out before for me, so that was good. So now to finish it, and I have not worked on this in a while, I'll use this Medici color, and then you do a solid wedge at the end, and then it will be finished. So I restarted this again on November 21st, 2025. I probably did all of this in a few weeks, and then it's been sitting in a bag. So I have a chronic not being able to finish projects problem, but we do the best we can. I have had a lot going on. All right, what's next? Okay, let's talk about a sweater. So I cast on 2 sweaters in the month of October. I just really wanted to cast on some new sweaters. So the first one I cast on was the Salty Days sweater by Veronica Lindberg. This I'm using also for the second time in my life, the Called For yarn in, I believe, the Called For color. So it is Sandisgarn Double Sunday DK, and then Knitting for Olive Mohair, and the color is Marzipan. So very, very, if you haven't noticed, I'm sort of entering my, what's the word we're looking for? My classic era of knits. I really want more neutrals. So it's actually more probably my neutral era. I'm just really drawn to neutrals right now, and it's probably already out of style, but that's where I'm at. So I cast this on October 3rd, 2025. And when you start this, and I don't have a picture to show you what it's supposed to look like, but I think we're close enough here. Sorry, it's kind of a mess. You cast on the back and do all this ribbing, and then you do this beautiful lace panel, and then you do the shoulders to the front, and then you do a lace pattern, and then you connect the body, and you start going round and round. So that's where I'm at. So I've now done the lace section, and then you do kind of this eyelet section to separate each panel. And now I'm in this cable section. So I had actually done this cable section before, and I misread the chart. And so I missed all of these plain stockinette rows. So everything was really squished up. And I finished it and I'm like, this doesn't look right. It did not look right. And yeah, I had to rip it all back. And it took me a minute to decide if I really wanted to go for ripping it back, because honestly, the thought of ripping back, you know, the double Sunday and the mohair together is like horrifying, right? Ripping back mohair is terrible, especially when it's with another yarn. But I was like, I will not be happy with this. I've learned that about myself. As much as I'm not a perfectionist about some things, I definitely am about other things. I'm a rule follower, and I didn't think that I wanted this to look that off. So I ripped it all out, and I'm halfway through this cable chart. So I think it looks really good, and I'm really, really, really excited to finish this one. And yeah, I work on this right now periodically, just because I have to focus a little bit more when I work on it, and focus has not been my thing lately. So let's get to some of the things that have been whips for a while and have seen some love recently. I have been working on my cranberry gauze. This is a pattern by Thea Coleman. It's sort of a vesty slipover. I'm really excited about this. I'm using Harrisville Designs Nightshades yarn in the color Talk Radio. So if you're unfamiliar, this is a yarn that it reads black, but it's blown with purple. Hopefully some of that is coming up for you. And it's rustic and soft at the same time. It's very difficult to really explain, but I like it. So I finished the back panel. And when I tell you this felt like a feat, it really truly did. So you start at the bottom and you do your ribbing, and then you do a sea of stockinette, and then you finally get to the top where you get to do some texture, and it's just so fun. And it's gonna be really hard to show this because of the light, but yeah, so there it is. Just knit and purl texture. And so this is the back panel. I'll make a front panel, and then I don't know what happens after that because I didn't read that far into the pattern. So yeah, it's coming along, and honestly, I really enjoy this. I don't really enjoy the ribbing, which is where I'm at with the front panel. So once I get through the front panel and then I start my just stockinette, I think I will be working on this a lot more again because I really enjoy it a lot. And it's too late for this season, but I'm hoping to have this done by next fall so that I can wear it. So that's where that's at. And then I'm going to go over to my post by Julie Hoover, which is a capelet. And I'm thinking you're gonna notice the same thing I noticed as I was working on this. If I had worked on either the cranberry gauze or the post, and not on both of them at the same time, I could probably have a finished object right now. But that's not me. So I had finished also the back panel of my post, which is here. So this is very similar in construction. It has ribbing on the bottom, big sea of stockinette before you start doing your decreases. What I like about this one is the side panel has this really pretty edging, and then when you get into the decreases, they're very pretty decreases, and I've never done decreases like this before, and yeah, I think they just have a really nice look. The yarn I'm using for this is Knit Picks Andine Treasure in the color Lynx Heather. It is so soft. This is baby alpaca, and it is like the softest thing in the world. So even though I'm not sure that I'm a capelet person, I think I might be a capelet person with this because it's just so soft. I think I'll wear it. And if not, I'll gift it, and it'll be a lovely gift for somebody. So yeah. So if this would have been the other panel to my cranberry goss, that could maybe be done. But I'm not that kind of knitter, I guess, which sometimes annoys me, but you know, gotta get over it. So I started the cranberry goss on April 21st, 2025. And I started the post on September 5th, 2024. So this has been a work in progress much longer than the other one. This is the yarn. So it's very nice, it's super soft. I don't know that there's anything softer than this, except maybe cashmere, and I've never knit with cashmere. All right, we're doing great, we're doing great. All right, then I had 2 socks. Oh, I forgot to bring my book down. That's okay. 2 socks that I cast on recently. I started another pair of book socks. I have not talked to Sophie of Cozy Meadow Knits about this, but last year we started our book socks club, and I love this. Basically where we're making socks that match the cover of books we're reading. And yeah, I kind of fell off just because my life got crazy, but I'm still doing it. So hopefully she is. I'll talk to her about it soon. But I cast on my 3rd pair of book socks, and they are the library socks by the kitchen sink. I've made these socks before. I'm going back to a lot of sock patterns that I just know that I enjoy. And I'm using Nomadic Yarns Tweedy sock in the color Beach Read, which matches the book Beach Read by Emily Henry, which and I started this on January 29th. And these are gonna be a pair of socks for my friend Julie. She has a birthday in the summer, so I thought this would be a fun summery sock for her. The library socks just have a knit and purl texture. And I did heel flap and gusset. I feel like I finally kind of graduated to heel flap and gusset being the norm for me. I always used to think it was so complicated, and just like Kitchener stitch, once you get it, you've got it. So yeah. So these are great. These are gonna be obviously a little shorter of a sock. Julie likes short socks. So yeah, these are the Beach Read socks, and I will show them with, I think there's a picture of them with the book on Instagram, perhaps, and if not, I will add one. So here they are, and I love these. Those went on a 36-hour drive to and from Orlando, Florida with me, along with this next pair of socks that I'm going to share. So I had this really pretty Lolo Did It yarn for years. This is the color Narnia, and it's just such a gorgeous blue, and I've been, it's coming a little teal here, and it is teal-ish, but it's also very rich. It's just a very pretty color. And I really wanted to make a pair of socks with this yarn, and I was looking in all my sock books and looking on Ravelry, and finally I was like, I know what socks I want to make. I want to make the Freddie Beach socks. So I've already made these socks. This is a pattern by Nancy Wheeler, Knit Sip Happy. Sorry, there's some trucks outside my window, so I apologize if you're hearing that right now. This is a great pattern with slip stitches, and they're just beautiful. So I cast on a pair of Freddie Beach socks and worked on these during my long car ride to and from Florida. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm too old for driving to Florida. 18 hours there, 18 hours back. But again, heel flap and gusset. And these are a pair of socks. These are actually prayer socks, which again, I'm not a super religious person, but I like the concept of a prayer shawl, like when you're thinking of someone and praying for them while you're making the shawl. I do that with socks. So this is a pair of prayer socks for somebody. And yeah, here they are. I love these, and I think the color just looks so good, and that stitch pattern, oh, if you have not made these, they're so easy and they look so beautiful. So highly recommend. These are like probably, I'm becoming that person that just loves what I love, and I love certain patterns, and I just feel like, why not just keep doing the patterns that I love over and over again? All right. Speaking of Nancy Wheeler and Knit Sip Happy, I also cast on the Wild Geese DK socks, and I used Tia's Terrific threads in a DK base in the color Riptide, and I started these on February 1st. So I just was again looking for a pair of socks to cast on with DK yarn, and I love this. So wild geese, flying V motif. For these, I'm using just a scrappy DK weight for the heel and toes and cuffs. This one I did a fish lips kiss heel on. I don't really know why. But yeah, I'm really enjoying these as well. So these hopefully will go quickly. I think these are going to be a pair of slipper socks for Claire, possibly for next year. So for her graduation, I'm hoping to have some knits for her to take with her. She has decided to go to college close to home for a few years, with the hopes that after 2 years she will be transferring far away. So she's starting with baby wings, and then we're gonna get larger wings, hopefully. She's got a lot of ideas and goals, and we're really, sorry, my mom's calling. And so we're really hoping to set her up for success so that she can reach those goals. So starting close to home, and then we're just one step at a time. All right, we're close. I think I only have 2 more projects. So let's go back to October. I also cast on Mabel's sweater. This is a pattern by Joji Locatelli. And let me find a picture of it. Here it is. This is a fingering weight sweater, which is a choice for me. I'm not normally a fingering weight sweater kind of girl, but when I saw this pattern, I just really, really wanted to make it. So I had gotten some yarn from Sandra Yarn Company a while ago, and it is their Sunday morning 4-ply BFL, and the color that I chose is called Bear Hug, and it's a gorgeous brown, and I love this so much. This has been sitting for months, and I do need to pick it up again, so hopefully after today I will, but it's so pretty. So it's basically ribbing with a little extra stitch, and it is just so unbelievably gorgeous. The details for the increases are really nice. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, but I love this. Even though it's basically ribbing and fingering weight in the round, I'm really, really, really enjoying this. So I had actually, really sorry if you're hearing all of this noise outside my house. I actually have probably done this much of it twice, because I had made a mistake on one of the increases, and I felt like, oh, I just showed you the wrong side. That's why. Oh, now you can see. I'm sorry. There we go. It looks so much better. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So I had actually done probably this much of the sweater, and then I messed up one of the increases, and I tried to fix it, and again, it was one of those mistakes where I looked at it and I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to live with that. So I unraveled it and started over again. So imagine this with like 2 more inches on it, because that's how much more I probably worked. Yeah, I'm really happy with this. I'll get back to it. It's just, I have so many projects all the time, and that's how I need to be. I need to be able to flit around, because I cannot always focus on just one thing. Sometimes I can, but especially when I'm stressed out or feeling anxious or just tired, it's just nice to be like, no, I just want to do like an easy sock, just round and round and round, or nope, I just want to pick up a blanket and just work on that for a little bit. And I like all the different color choices available. I like different textures available to me. It's just very much how my brain works. All right, last thing, which is gonna be the hardest one to show, and that is my Northeasterly DK blanket. I picked this up right around the holidays, and I've put on so much for me. So when I started this blanket with like that much in 2020. So I started this December 1st, 2020. So I did that much. And then I added a bit more. I think I got up to here. And since then, I have added all of this. So I just love this. I also have a fingering weight northeasterly blanket in the works, and that one I'm being very thoughtful of doing kind of in a pattern. This one is just purely scraps. So some of it is scrapped DK yarn, some of it is fingering weight held together. Yeah, and it's just been so much fun to work on. I love it. So I'm right here with this green, and so I'm hoping actually today to finish this strip, and then maybe I'll give it a little bit of a break. But yeah, I love working on this. It makes me really happy. And I don't know if I'm doing the join incorrectly, and that's why I'm getting the colors kind of going onto the other side, but I don't care, because I've gotten to a point where I really, really like that, kind of making it look like a seam. It makes me really happy. So yeah, this one is just purely scrap, and I really, really love it. So yeah, I sort of have in my head that I would like to finish this for Claire for her graduation present. So you may be seeing this a bit more frequently, fingers crossed. I had originally started a Cozy Memories blanket for Claire and Milo in about before this, so probably 2018. And they have not grown as much because I truly don't enjoy working on them as much. I don't think I'm a fingering weight blanket person, to be completely honest. So this has just been so great, and also because here's Penelope, she got a haircut recently. Oh, thank you, thank you. Also because the DK weight makes it go, you wanna talk about that with me? Makes it go faster. And also just the freedom of using whatever scraps I feel like has been so fun. So, I mean, I am trying to coordinate a little bit. Like, I don't want two of the same color next to each other if possible, but it's just been a lot of fun to work on. So that is it for my knitting projects today. That was a lot. And if you're new, this is Penelope. She's my 11-year-old Shih Tzu Terrier mix with a little heart murmur and a loose tooth. And yeah, she's doing fine otherwise. We still go on 3 walks a day, and she's a very good girl. So she just wanted to say hi, I guess. Okay, so yeah, I think the only other thing I was going to talk about is I'm not making any goals for 2026, especially since we're already 3 months into it, 2 months into it. I'm trying to knit for other people a little bit more and trying to still knit through my stash. So that's really all I'm doing, and trying to have fun, because knitting for me is how I relax, for sure. All right, so book club. Instead of listing off the 26 books I have read since the last time we spoke, I thought I would just talk about the books that I've read since the beginning of this year. So just like the last 2 years, I have a goal of reading 100 books, and I am not doing well, mainly because of figure skating media that I have been consuming since nationals, US nationals, to see who was gonna go to the Olympics, and then the Olympics and everything. It's just been a lot, so I'm a little behind. So for 2026, I have read 7 books in 2 months. That's terrible. So I got to pick up the pace a little bit. So I have read A Million Junes by Emily Henry. I think this was one of her earlier books, and I gave that 4 stars. It was good. I just didn't like, there was a supernatural aspect to it that I didn't really like. Then I read Bride by Allie Hazelwood because I got on a plane and I like to have a comfort read with me when I'm on the plane. And then I read The Last Namsara by Kristen Ciccarelli. I gave that 4 stars. She is the same author of, oh my gosh, you are getting to be a lot, the Crimson Moth series, which I really enjoyed both of those books. This one was not as good. I had to get to the very end before I really started to get into it, but it ended well, so I gave that 4 stars. I read Close Knit by Kels Stone. I gave that 3 stars. That is a book about a knitting influencer and a soccer player or football player if you're from Europe, or any other country other than the US. And then I read Blade by Wendy Walker. I gave that 3 stars. It was a figure skating murder mystery kind of book, and I feel like it was a little half-baked. Like they probably pushed it through to come out around the Olympics and it suffered for that. That's my take on it. I don't know if that's what happened, but that's how it read to me. Then I read The Long Game by Rachel Reed, which is the second book in the Heated Rivalry series about Ilya and Shane. I thought it was actually fine. Very, very spicy. So, oh my gosh. Sorry, the dog has decided it's playing time. Penelope, no. No. And then I read Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. I did not like that. I gave it 2 stars. I thought it was pretty silly. So right now I am reading, my before bed book is The Frozen River by Ariel Lawhon. And this one's going slow for me, but I do like it. And then in my ears, I am listening to A Happy Catastrophe by Maddie Dawson. And I'm not loving that one either, but you know, I have to get these books. If I want to get to this is the only goal that I really, really work on every year. So I'm just trying to get through it. And then I'll find another book that I'm more interested in listening to. And that's it for book club today. So, yeah, let me know what you're reading. If you've read anything really good lately, please let me know. And you can find me on Goodreads as well. I think I'm Denell on there, Dehnel. So if you want to find me on Goodreads, I keep that up to date too. So, and then lastly is just personal chit chat. What have I been up to? Well, the holidays were really the holidays, as they always are. And then right after the holidays, we went to Galena, Illinois, and we stayed in an Airbnb with a bunch of our in-laws and just had like a really fun time just doing crafts and hanging out. Stranger Things came out and we have a bunch of teenagers that were into that. We went on a hike with goats and we just had a great time. And then after that, I was home for about 4 days, and then I hopped on a plane and went to St. Louis, Missouri for US Figure Skating Nationals with my 2 childhood best friends, who we are still best friends, and we had the best time. My husband just was like, I knew you were okay, but I didn't really hear from you. He's like, you were definitely in your element. And I was like, I was. It was so fun. So when you go to these big skating events, if you get an all event pass, you get to go to the practices. So that's really fun for me, being that I have been in the sport and I am actually coaching again now. So just to see how the skaters practice and how that translates to how they compete. And we just had the greatest time. It was such an exciting event, and and I stayed to see the exhibition gala on Sunday, which normally I don't like show galas, but that's when they announced Team USA and who was going to the Olympics, and everything just felt so good about it. And it was just wonderful, and I loved it. I was sad to come home and rejoin the real world. And then as soon as I got home, my daughter was in her most busy part of her dance season. It was competition every weekend. So it was like 2 local competitions, then regionals. They made it from regionals to state. They did really well at state this year. They placed 4th place in both their hip hop and their jazz, which is the highest that they've done in 2 disciplines since she's been on the team. So it was a great way for her dance career to finish out. We were very proud of her. And then we came home for and that was 4 hours away, hotel stay. And then we came back for about 4 days and then got in the car to drive to Orlando, because I didn't really want to go to Orlando for nationals, but being that it was her very last competition, we decided to go. So we got there and it was craziness. We went to Epcot one day with the parents and drank around the world, which I'd never done before and I don't think I need to do again. And then just going to the competition, hanging out. It was kind of the last hurrah with these people who have been part of our lives for a long time. And then we came back and now things are strangely calm. Like, we've had so much going on for so long that it just, my daughter had almost like a meltdown. She's like, what do I do? She's normally at dance after school 4 to 5 days a week. And now like most of it is over. So now we're kind of shifting gears to, getting ready for college. She formally accepted her position at the school she's gonna go to, and I don't know, I've been coaching skating 3 days a week outside of my normal job, so I'm very busy too. And now the kids are I did not put my kids in skating when they were younger. There were a few reasons for it that I won't get into, but they're very interested now. So they're always like, can we go skating? And so we go skate if we have some free time, and it's good for all of us, and we're all having a great time. So everything is good. It's just busy and tiring, and the world is a tiring place right now. So it's also hard to like find a good day to feel good about coming on here to talk, because yeah, things are weird in the world, but yeah, we're all good. So that's all I have to talk about today. My dog is being crazy, and finally it's quiet outside, but thanks for joining me. I will try to get back here again soon. Now that I got through it once, I feel like I can do it again. So thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. Please leave a comment if you feel like it, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.